Hello, I'm Linda Black and welcome to this video series. I've been in practice as a clinical hypnotherapist since 2011, and prior to that I was a psychotherapist in a more general sense since 2001. So I've been in practice for almost 20 years. When I hit 65, I started noticing that almost all the commentary about older people was negative. The government talked about how much of a cost to the economy we are. The media constantly expose us to all the worst of getting older: dementia, disability, debility, sickness, frailty, and on and on and on it goes. And I thought, that's not what I want for this stage of my life, and it isn't what I see around me either. And so I thought there's got to be other, more positive images and information. So I did a bit of a research about that and found that there was almost nothing. And there was plenty of information about nutrition, about finances, and about exercise, but practically nothing at all about emotional well-being and positive mindset, my domains. And so I thought, well, there must be something. And I'd had an interest in positive psychology for a number of years, so it was an easy step to start thinking in terms of positive aging. What I discovered, though, was that there really was almost nothing. And I thought about what it was I knew from my work over the past almost 20 years, and I realised that there was research done by two psychologists in the UK, Ivan Tyrrell and Joe Griffin, who something like 20 to 25 years ago were exploring the whole issue of effectiveness of therapies. And they were interested to know, what is the fundamental difference between a therapy approach that is consistently effective versus one that is less consistently so. And what they discovered was that there are essentially two components to that. The first is connected with the fact that we're born with a set of emotional needs, in the same way as we're born with physical needs for air, food, and water. We're also born with a set of resources that enable us to get those needs met. When those needs are adequately met, when those resources are appropriately used to get them met, then that's when thriving happens. And the therapies are effective from that point of view, when they're addressed. And so I thought, okay, let's apply this to getting older and see what happens. So what I'd like to do to start in this video series is introduce you to these needs and resources, 2 or 3 at a time, with a gap of about 3 days or so in between each video, with the idea that once you're informed about these 2 or 3, you can see how they play out in your life, how they are either well met or poorly met, and what you might do to improve the adequacy of that. So I'd like to start with 2 today. And the first of them is emotional safety and security. Basically what that means is that we know there is at least one person who has our back. When we're really in trouble, there's one person that we can turn to who will be there for us through thick and thin, who will support us in whatever way we need at the time. Now, that might be a member of your family, either an adult child or a brother or sister, or it could be a club or a group, or it could be an organization that you're already well familiar with and you know that they're really reliable. So while I talk about one person who has your back, it can be one person, but it can also be a group or an organization. The simple fact is, though, that you know if I get into difficulty, there's somewhere I can go for help and I can rely on it. The second one I want to talk about today is self-esteem. Now, self-esteem is essentially the regard that you have for yourself as a result of your accomplishments and achievements. Now, when we're working or bringing up a family, often those achievements and accomplishments are embedded in those areas of our lives. For example, it may be you've got significant accomplishments from your work or profession, or it might be that you've spent a great deal of your time bringing up your children and now they are effective, caring, really successful adults in the ways that matter to you. And so you know your job is done well. The problem arises, of course, when you retire or when your children leave home and go on their own path and can even be overseas, so you don't even get to see them very often. It means that where you have embedded your sense of self-esteem in either of those areas, they're no longer available to you, or so it seems. But it's based on the qualities you have within you, the characteristics that are a part of you, that enable those successes in one area or another. So the issue then becomes, at this point in life, what were they? What were the characteristics or values or qualities that I have that enabled my professional success or work success? Or what was it that I brought to bringing up my family that enabled them, my children, to be successful and caring adults? And so those qualities are still in you, and therefore you might like to consider, could I continue in the same way? Maybe as a mentor in a work setting, or maybe caring for children in another way entirely? Or could I apply those qualities in a completely different way? Totally different, but I'm still expressing those parts of me in a way that will be satisfying, that I have high regard for myself as a result of. So in the meantime, give those two some thought and pay attention to how they play out in your life, bearing in mind they need to be adequately met. Don't have to be a way up here, and it's important that they're not met at all. And so it's this adequate middle ground, if you like, as long as you're being in there somewhere, that's important. And so I'll leave you for now until we meet again. I'll say cheerio. Take care, have fun, I'll catch you later.